Aloha mai kako and good morning. This is the June 8th, 2022 Land Use Commission meeting. It is a hybrid meeting, which is being held at the Leo Papa a Kamehameha Building, room 405, and open to the public in Honolulu, as well as by interactive video conference technology, which links video conference participants and other interested individuals of the public via the Zoom webinar platform to comply with state law. Members of the public are able to attend in person or view the meeting via the Zoom webinar platform. For all meeting participants, I would like to stress the importance of speaking slowly, clearly, and directly into a microphone. It is helpful if before speaking, you state your name and identify yourself for the record. This meeting is being recorded on the digital record of this Zoom meeting. The significance of that is twofold. First of all, if you do not wish to be part of the digital record of this Zoom meeting, you should leave now. Second of all, please be aware that we generate our court recordings from the record of this Zoom meeting, hence the importance of speaking slowly, clearly, and directly into your microphone. The Zoom technology allows the parties and each participating commissioner individual remote access to our meetings via our personal digital devices. Please note, due to matters entirely outside of our control, occasional disruptions to connectivity may occur for one or more members of the meeting at any given time. If this occurs, please let us know and please be patient as we try to restore signals to continue to conduct business. For any members of the public who wish to testify on any agenda item on which public testimony is allowed, if you are connecting to this via the Zoom software, indicate that you desire to provide testimony by pressing the raise hand button. If you are calling in by phone to the Zoom meeting, you may use *9 to indicate that you want to speak and *6 that you want to be unmuted. If it is necessary, we will take breaks from time to time, approximately 10 minutes every hour. My name is Jonathan Likeke Scheuer. I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the Land Use Commission Chair. We currently have 9 seated commissioners. Along with me, Commissioner Ed Axon, Commissioner Don Chang, Commissioner Kuike Kamaka'ea Ohelo, Commissioner Gary Okuda, and Commissioner Arnold Wong are all on the island of Oahu. Also on the island of Oahu is our Executive Officer, Daniel Ordenker, our Chief Planner, Scott Derrickson, our Staff Planner, Riley Hakoda, our LUC Planner, Martina Segura, our Chief Clerk, Natasha Quinones. We have 2 attorneys general with us today, Julie China, as well as Robert Nakatsuji. Commissioner Nancy Cabral represents Hawaii Island. Commissioner Lee Ohigashi is from the island of Maui, and Commissioner and First Vice Chair Dan Giovanni is from the island of Kauai. As I noted, court reporting is done from the Zoom recording. Our first order of business in today's brief meeting is adoption of the May 25th, 2022 minutes. Ms. Quinones, has any written testimony been received on adoption of the minutes?
Chair, I don't think that Natasha was able to make the meeting this morning.
Okay. Is the staff aware of any written testimony that's been received on the adoption of the minutes?
Chair, no testimony that I'm aware of.
Okay. So I see hands going up in the audience of people wishing to testify, but for now, just to be very clear, the only thing that you can testify on at this point in the meeting is adoption of the minutes. I will offer an opportunity to offer testimony on the other agenda items as they come forward. So are there any people in the audience who wish to testify on adoption of the May 25th minutes? I see no hands raised and nobody calling in by phone. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes? Commissioner Cabral.
I'd like to make the motion to adopt the minutes of May 25th. Thank you.
Okay, is there a second? Commissioner, waving his bidding sign for $500 is Commissioner Arnold Wong.
I second.
Seconding the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion to adopt the minutes? Seeing none, Mr. Ordenker, please poll the commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to adopt the minutes. Commissioner Cabral,
Aye.
Commissioner Wong,
Aye.
Commissioner Axon,
Would like to recuse. I wasn't in that meeting.
thank you. Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Giovanni,
Aye.
Commissioner Ohigashi,
Yes.
Commissioner Okuda,
Aye.
Commissioner Kamakea Ohelo,
Aye.
Chair Schroyer.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes with 8 affirmative votes and 1 abstain.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is the tentative meeting schedule. Mr. Ordenker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On June 23rd, we will be meeting on Oahu for the adoption of the order in the KS Waiava matter and continuation of election of officers and performance review. We'll also be receiving an update from the Attorney General's office with regard to the DW Inalea matter. On July 27th and 28th, we will be undertaking new commissioner training at the Foreign Trade Zone. That's scheduled to take full-time both days. August at this time is clear. In September 14th, 15th, and 16th is the HCPO on Kauai. All the commissioners are invited to attend. It's not a meeting. There's no sunshine law implications to that. It's simply a conference that everyone is entitled to attend. And that takes us through the fall, the summer. And once again, I would caution the commissioners to keep their calendars open on the dates provided in case we have matters that are going to come before us. We do know of a couple of special permits and a 201H project that should be in the works, and those will be agendized as soon as we get word on when they will be filed. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ordenker. Commissioners, any questions for Dan about our schedule? Looking around the rooms, seeing none. Our next agenda item is a discussion and action to appeal civil number 3 CCV 21-00000178 Linda K. Rosehill and the Third Circuit Court's findings of fact, conclusion of law, and decision in order reversing the state of Hawaii's Land Use Commission's consolidated declaratory order. The LUC staff has advised me that public testimony was received on this matter and have subsequently advised me that this has been posted to our website in the public sections of our website. Testimony received prior to our meeting, our previous meeting on May 19th, was from Steve Lopez, Jerry Allison, Cynthia Milani, and Cindy and Thomas Fisher. Testimony has been received for today by Cynthia Milani, Steve Lopez, Harry M. Pritikin, I apologize if I've mispronounced your name, Michael Matsukawa, Corey Harden, Richard and Deborah Koval, and Walter and Kathy Koenig. These have been posted to the website under docket DR 2070. I'm now going to call for any public oral testimony on this matter. If you wish to testify, please do so by raising your hand using the raise your hand function on the Zoom software. If you, when I call your name, I will admit you to be a panelist. You will then be able to enable
Jerry, you're frozen.
your audio and video. I am still here. I'm still here. Okay, I think people started to move again. Can you hear me again?
Yes.
I just, as a warning, and I didn't want to say anything to botch it, after having during the pandemic nearly flawless connectivity for the last week, something has happened in my neighborhood and I've lost connectivity every once in a while. So hopefully we get through today smoothly. In any case, so just to repeat, I will admit people one by one to be testifiers. When you are admitted, you will then be able to enable your audio and video. At that time, I will swear you in, you will give your testimony, you'll be available for questions from the commission, and then we'll move on to the next testifier. Corey Harden, followed by Mary Ann Stone. I will admit Ms. Corey Harden. Ms. Harden, if you enable your audio and video. Good morning, Ms. Harden. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
yes.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record and proceed.
Corey Harden from Hilo, Hawaii Island. And I'd like to speaking about the short-term vacation rentals. I first want to thank you folks for your service on the commission. I'm really concerned about allowing more of these vacation rentals on ag land. It increases risk and unsustainability, and it means less local food and more tourism. And if you open the door to vacation rentals, the numbers can explode. At Kapoho Vacation Land, before the lava came in, there were vacation rentals in about 4 out of every 5 houses. And in 2019, close to half of the 4,000 vacation rental applications on our island were for non-conforming use certificates, and they were mostly for agriculture land. And our island has over 1 million acres of ag land, which means we could get quite a few vacation rentals. And as you know, the vacation rentals mean serious impacts, less food self-sufficiency. We get the carbon footprint of importing food and footprint from tourists flying back and forth. We get noise and light pollution, traffic for the neighbors. And there's also higher rents and higher property taxes for the neighbors. And it seems unlikely that the legislature intended for a loophole allowing vacation rentals in ag districts by just saying they are farm dwellings. The primary use of ag land should be ag. The Hokulea project got shut down 3 years because the court ruled 1 acre properties with ag activities in the easement or building envelope wasn't sufficient. And Hokulea was supposed to come to you folks to get its ag designation changed to rural. It hasn't done that. And so the county has allowed it to do roads and other infrastructure under less restrictive rules and regulations than it should be doing. And every Hawaii County building permit applicant must sign a form saying they're aware of the Kelly versus Oceanside Partners ruling that requires homes to be farm dwellings. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harden. Are there questions, commissioners, for the testifier? Commissioners? Commissioner Cabral.
Ms. Harden, this is Nancy. I'm here on the, well, I'm not on the Big Island right now, but I am the commissioner from the Big Island, and I absolutely want to thank you for your testimony and your obviously knowledgeable position and information for us. So thank you very much for coming to see us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners, for a testifier? Thank you very much for your testimony. I'm going to move you back to be a member of the audience, and then I'm going to admit Mary Ann Stone. When Mary Ann Stone is admitted, they should enable their audio and video. And we will go through the same procedural. I will swear you in, ask you to state your name and address for the record, and then give your testimony. Can you enable your audio and video?
How do I do my video? Start video. Video.
There we go. Okay. And if you tilt your screen slightly down, we'll see all of you. There we go.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Good morning. I need to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Okay. So if you would state your name and address for the record and then proceed to share your testimony.
Mary Ann Stone, White Sands subdivision in Kona. And I wanted to thank Nancy, or actually Corey, for all of her good information. I am opposing the vacation rentals in the rural areas. We do not need to eliminate the tranquility of our rural communities. Vacation rentals as a whole have been just a horrible experience personally for myself. And the fact that 20 people, 20 property owners are trying to change this island wide, that to me is just scary. The county has said that they've got 50 applicants that are waiting. They're on hold until this Rosehill case proceeds. I think the county needs to stand up. The county needs to say no to these folks. And the county needs to create a department to handle all the vacation rental issues and the clarifications. It's so confusing and it's so time consuming that there is not a body that can address this. The bill needs to be addressed. We do not need to allow any more vacation rentals in non-conforming. I live in a small cul-de-sac. I have 2 illegal vacation rentals. Both of them have 3 kitchens. What can I do? I do the best I can with the county, but the county does the best they can. So I just want to say thank you again, Corey, for all your great information. And personally, I do not want to see any more vacation rentals allowed in areas where it's non-conforming. We do need food. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stone. Please let me see if there's questions from the commissioners for you. Commissioners, any questions for the testifier?
Okay.
Commissioners? Seeing none, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to log in to testify. We really appreciate it. I will now admit you to be an attendee. Are there, okay, there is another. I'm going to admit Justin Cleveland to be a panelist. When they are admitted, they should enable their audio and video. And then anybody else who wishes to testify should indicate by using the raise your hand function. I do not see anybody calling in. Good morning. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Awesome. If you would state your name and address for the record and then
Yes,
proceed.
my name is Justin Cleveland. I have a property at 75-522 Nani Kailua, which is in Kailua. And I actually I just saw this article and I wanted to join. So I am pushing to allow short-term vacation rentals on ag land. My property is over an acre and it is ag land. We purchased the property in 2015 and we built a house on it. And we have been renting it. We use it we're there probably, I don't know, quarter of the year or so as a family, or our relatives stay there. But we also supplement it by renting it short term to people, usually from the mainland. And they're very good renters. Now, the one thing that I will state is we pay a lot in taxes to the state and to the county. I've paid my taxes ever since we started renting it in 2016. We've never had any problems with the renters. They're very respectful of the community, of the property, and of the area, and they love it. And we've had a lot of return renters. So when I filled out for the short-term vacation rental, I was denied for the permit. I'm happily able to pay it. I have no problem paying any fees, permits, or anything to allow us to continue to rent the property. And I'm happy to do so. I want to give as much money back to the government and to the state to fund the projects to make the island a better place for everyone. And I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. And, you know, homeowners like myself, when this came about, we were very, I guess, torn apart because it was something that we really enjoyed. It was our property. It was almost like taking the land from underneath us, how we were using it. And just to be clear, my community is about 35 properties that are all over an acre, and they're all designated ag land. And what's interesting is not one person is doing anything agricultural to give back to the community on the property. Now, we obviously have tons of fruit trees and things like that there that we harvest and enjoy when we're there, but there's nothing, you're not selling it anywhere or doing anything, whether you're not roasting, you're not doing, you know, coffee plantations or anything on an acre. It's very difficult on an acre of land to do much of anything when it's agricultural, right? Especially when you're on top of a hill and you have rock wall all around you. You basically have a half an acre of usable space. So I would consider the ag land where we are not really ag land per se, but it is classified that way, which would put us outside of that short-term vacation rental, which I would like to, my point of being here and making the point to be here is to make sure that people like ourselves that have paid taxes for the last 5 to 7 years are respected and we're able to continue. Barring, I do stand for some kind of permitting process, making sure that the people have paid their taxes and they continue to pay their taxes, and allowing them to rent their properties on a short-term basis, paying some kind of permit or fee process as well. So.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Let me see if there's any questions for you from the commission. Commissioner Cabral. Commissioner, you're muted.
Thank you. I've got it slow. I'm on my lap here. So Justin, thank you for coming forward. And obviously what you're discussing is a lot of people are doing a similar type thing, but you said you're not doing anything agricultural in terms of agricultural income producing on your property, on your 1 acre. Okay. When you got but you built your home there, you said you built your own home there. Okay.
Correct.
When you got your permit from the county, was there any discussion with the county asking you about agriculture use, or were you told you were supposed to do agriculture use on your property?
There was nothing. They basically let us build a single family home there with no discussion that we had to do anything agricultural.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for that information. Okay, yes. Thank you.
Commissioners, Commissioner Okuda.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for your testimony. Democracy always works better when we have an open discussion. Please don't take offense to any of the questions I might be asking in this, but many times because we on the Land Use Commission are what we call a quasi-judicial body, we are duty bound to ask certain types of questions. And this question deals with really, fundamental requirements regarding the uses permitted on agricultural land. Are you aware right now, as you sit here today, that in fact, there is a legal requirement that if you are occupying or using agricultural land, it has to be used for purposes, agricultural purposes, which the Hawaii law, the statutes permit on agricultural land. And if the statute or the law does not permit those activities, they're not permitted. In other words, they're illegal. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware that there was anything to do with short-term vacation rentals when we purchased the property. In fact, our bylaws of the community actually allowed for short-term vacation rentals when we purchased the property. That was one of the reasons that we purchased it, because we wanted to supplement the property by doing that. Now, there was no discussion of we had to have a farm or anything like that. Like I said, on a 1 acre parcel, which is really a half an acre, it's very difficult to do anything around agricultural right now, whether I'm going to have raised pigs, chickens, farm coffee. It's very difficult to do that on the parcel of land that's about, after you factor in the hillside and all that kind of stuff, it's really like a half an acre of usable space. So I have, definitely we have agricultural things there like fruit trees, mango trees, pineapples, but it's not like a farm, right? And we use them for our personal use.
Okay, and let me just but ask the question this way. I sympathize with the factual situation that you're presenting, but my question is more fundamental. Are you aware, as you sit here today, or have become aware, that to have certain types of activity on land designated agricultural, your dwelling must qualify and fall within a specific definition under the law of what's called a farm dwelling? That
Yes,
this is-
I do understand that.
Okay.
Now, one thing, when I did contact the county before, the county planning division, and we had a discussion, I had brought it to their attention that when we filed for a permit, they basically allowed us to break the law by approving the dwelling that we built on the property on agricultural land. And they basically said, you know, we kind of look the other way on ag land and we approve your permit, so forth. So I am aware that the property that we have is probably not in line with the actual agricultural land use building permit structure. But the county allowed us to build it that way. That is correct.
And I do agree with your description of what took place as, quote, breaking the law, close quote. Just so that you don't think that I'm personally a hypocrite. At prior hearings, I have told representatives of various county planning departments that it is frankly not proper for the counties to take positions or do things which break the law. Do you think it's fair to say that everybody in government should not break the law?
Well, I would say breaking the law is not a great thing to do in any respect, whether it's a county person allowing me to have a permit for a structure that is going against the proper planning procedure. I don't know much about that. Now, my other big thing is I'm also in tune of, if you do buy a property, you should not be told what you have to do with the property. So now I get like what kind of structures you can put on there and get permits for, but I have several houses and I am able to rent those properties as I feel in other locations without any issues, right? And some of them are bigger than others.
We
and
have
that
some
kind of
other
stuff.
testifiers and there's
Yeah.
other questions for this witness, so we need
Yeah,
to.
Chair, let me just conclude by asking this question. Well, no, I think we have enough on the record from this witness. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Okuda. Commissioner Giovanni.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Cleveland, for coming forward today and being so frank and with the commission. And my question is similar to the inquiry that you made when you were getting your building permit. I want to back up a step. When you were buying the property and dealing with real estate agents or whoever you were dealing with, did they clarify for you that it was agricultural land and what would be the limits or constraints on building?
There was no anything about what we could or couldn't build, but there was more of, since it was agricultural land, there was a difference in property tax value. We were more, you know, we were just kind of thrown off by, it was a great piece of property and a great view. So, you know, we were like, well, whatever. We did ask about the constraints of renting it. And since the bylaws we had for our actual division said it allowed for short-term rentals, that's kind of where it stopped. So there was nothing that the real estate agent came back and said, it's agricultural land and you cannot use it for short-term vacation rentals. That was nothing at the time we bought it in 2015.
So the actual real estate agent that you refer to, was that part of a representative of the greater development that you moved into, or was it an independent real estate agent?
It was an independent real estate agent for Century 21 at the time.
Thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Giovanni. Commissioners, further questions? Mr. Cleveland, sorry, you didn't state your address for the record. Could you at least tell us what state in which you reside as your full-time residence?
I reside in California, yes,
Okay.
and I stated my property address in Hawaii.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your testimony. Anything further?
Okay.
Seeing none, I'm going to move you to be an attendee. We have two more people who have raised their hands to testify. Tammy Evangelista, followed by David Heffer. I'm promoting Tammy Evangelista to be a panelist. If you may please enable your audio and video.
Aloha, good morning.
Aloha, good morning. Let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes,
Okay, and then if you'd state your name and address for the record and then proceed, please.
my name is Tammy Evangelista and I live at 881513 Umi Avenue, which is Minoli East subdivision. And I just wanted to clarify some things like, as far as ag land goes, aren't we supposed to use ag land for ag land? I mean, like we have a food shortage right now, you know, Kanaka maolis are being pushed out. I just want to make sure that the planning committee does what, and I commend all you guys for the job you guys do. I know it's a volunteer position. Thank you so much for all the information. And like, how do we hold real estate planning department, all these people responsible for giving people wrong information? You know, that's so wrong. Ag land should be for ag land. You should have at least something on it. All these people are coming from the mainland and trying to get short-term profits off our land, and we have limited resources. How can we be giving these people an acre? You can build, you can grow a lot on an acre. You can make a small farm, you can have a kalo patch, you can have a vegetable garden. There's so much you can do. And if you're not harvesting it, at least give it to people so that they can use it. Like, give it to the community, you know, open up your properties so that people can come and pick this food for people that are starving. Because a lot of our Hawaiians and our sovereign people and people that are trying to live off the land can't do it because these people from the mainland are trying to make an extra buck. And the people who are responsible for holding these people responsible aren't doing their jobs. How do we fix this? I'm sorry,
Mahalo.
that's just all I had
No,
to
yeah,
say.
no. Just it's hard on Zoom, yeah, but when we're together, sometimes like the pause is natural, just taking in what you're saying. So mahalo for your testimony. Let me see if there's any questions for you from the commissioners.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners, questions for Ms. Evangelista? I will just thank you and just acknowledge also that the community you're calling from is well known as a subsistence community on Hawaii Island. So
Thank you
for bringing
the last
those.
fishing village.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing those perspectives and those voices to our discussion. We really appreciate it.
Mahalo for
Mahalo nui.
giving me.
Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha. I'm going to move you to be an attendee, and I'm going to admit David Heffer. If you enable your audio and video, please. I'll note for the folks at the Leopapa Kamehameha building, I muted you because I was picking up some mic noise from Riley. So if you want to speak, you're going to have to unmute. Good morning. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I swear, yes.
Okay, so please state your name and address for the record and proceed.
I'm Dr. David Heffer. My Hawaiian address is 82953 Coffee Drive in Captain Cook, 96704. I'm in the process of moving to New York, so I don't have that New York address yet, but I will be switching states. I was working at Kona Hospital for 4 years, and I'm right now still working at Wilcox on Kauai, but I'm transitioning back to New York where I trained. When I moved from Kona to Wilcox, we owned a home on the Big Island, and we wanted to keep it there in order to be able to use it as for our vacation purposes, but also vacation rented in the meantime. So I'm actually in the situation like the Rosehill group is, but I'm not part of that lawsuit. The reason why I want to testimony here is that I did this pro se, so I'm not a lawyer, but unfortunately the elephant in the room of the land use, it's a very good law in Hawaii, but unfortunately it was not maintained because, as I'm sure you know, dear Chairman, is that the 5-year bond review was never performed since the year 1992. So if words fall here that the law is being violated, it's a little bit a paradox situation that you as the Land Use Commission actually does not fulfill Chapter 205-18 of the Hawaii State Land Use Law. One has to say that simply, because what has happened the last 20 or 30 years almost now, is that basically the land use situation in Hawaii was frozen in the situation of 1992. And I think the intent of the state law was to review that every 5 years to make sure it's up to date. And in that role, as the previous testimony said, it's very hard to do ag use on a 1 acre property. Now, those subdivisions are made, those are homes of people who are now in an ag subdivision. Also, it should be rural. That's the logical designation it should have. And I'm sure, dear Commissioner from the Big Island, you know that there is a huge problem on the Big Island with agricultural subdivisions, which should be rural. So I'm just, as somebody who's, who appealed the denial of a vacation rental permit, we were intending to stay on Kauai for long term. We had to now move to New York for health reasons of the family. Now, there's health physician shortages. I always wanted to go back to Kona Hospital to provide care there as a hospitalist, but I couldn't because now I have to long-term rent the property. So I basically have a, for me personally, useless house. And again, unfortunately, I don't think as a commission, you can say, why wasn't the 5 year? I mean, it's clear it is a very expensive undertaking where the state could not just do it, but basically you have invalidated the law. Okay, I think that's a safe statement to make by now, because the intent of the law was to maintain this.
Is this the conclusion of your testimony, Doctor?
Not yet.
So if you could wrap it up, please.
I just want to also say, again, I'm not part of the Rosehill group, but whatever your decisions make here, whatever comes out of it, it's a pending application in front of the land use. I will be in New York, and I reserve the right to do this a federal court case in New York later on. We're specifically going to include if by not having, 205-18 followed for 30 years, what is this entire land use law worth at this moment? That's it. Thank you.
Questions for the witness? Commissioner Cabral.
Yeah, Dr. Heffer, thank you very much for your testimony. In terms of your personal use of the house and it being a rental, are you aware that you can in fact rent your house out for 6 months or more and then come and stay in it as a short-term resident because you own the house? That is not then a vacation rental. So you
Again,
could have a rental, your house rented for a period of time, come back and stay in it for a while, and then then rent it again, as long as there would be recommended parameters there on the time frame. But you renting it, you personally using it short time is not considered a rental. So the situation to be in full compliance with the confusing contradictory laws that may be existing, you would be okay to do that for your own personal self. Are you aware of that?
I'm very well aware of that. I'm not sure if that situation would help any renters who only have to move every 6 months. It's not very fair to any families. We right now have a family with 3 kids in the house and renting to them. I don't think it's very fair to kick them out after half a year and then to use it for a week and then find another renter. That's my, there is some social responsibility. And again, that's not what my testimony was about. My testimony was about why did the state of Hawaii fail to do, a 5-year boundary amendment,
Okay, so excuse me.
Yeah.
You're a witness. You're not here to argue with individual commissioners, to be very clear.
Yeah.
Anything further questions, Commissioner?
No, thank you very much. I do appreciate your perspective, and I am aware, we are all aware of the problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioners, further questions for the witness? I would advise the witness to read the more recent amendments to Chapter 205, which specifically address this concern, which you appear to not be aware of due to your testimony. Anything further? If not, thank you very much for your testimony. I'm going to move you to be a attendee. Last call. Is there anybody who is attending this meeting who wishes to provide oral testimony on this agenda item? Raise your hand. Seeing none, I'm closing public testimony for this matter. And moving on to the commission's discussion, I would advise the commission, we do have available with us counsel if we wish to be advised on any updates on this case. With us, we could go into executive session. or we could simply proceed to discussion. Commissioners, any questions or comments, or what is your pleasure? Commissioner Wong.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I would like to move into executive session to speak to our Attorney General regarding this legal matters pertaining to this docket item.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by, thank you, Commissioner Ohigashi. I'm sorry I didn't see your hand raised. It was lost in the background of your screen. Motion has been made by Commissioner Wong and seconded by Commissioner Ohigashi to go into executive session to consult with our Attorney General on our powers, duties, privileges, and immunities related to this docket, this agenda item. Is there any discussion on the motion? Mr. Derrickson, Mr. Hakula, or Mr. Ordanker, will we go into a separate meeting, or how will we handle our executive session if the motion prevails?
Chair, this is Riley. We've sent invitations for a separate meeting for the executive session to everyone. Mr. Nakatsuji I wasn't expecting him, so he should have a separate email.
Riley, I don't have it.
Yeah, we don't have it.
You need to resend it. No, I don't think anybody has it.
Yeah, we will resend it, and you'll commissioners and the deputy AGs can sign out of this meeting, and it will stay up and active.
Yeah.
And we can sign back into it afterwards.
So thank you for clarifying that for the public, Mr. Derrickson. Should this motion prevail and we go into executive session, the commissioners will leave this Zoom meeting, go into a separate Zoom meeting, but this meeting will remain open. And we will come back to this meeting when out of executive session in the same way in which we would physically depart a meeting room or ask the public to leave a meeting room if we were going into open session or executive session, excuse me. So is there further discussion on the motion? If not, Mr. Ordanker, would you please poll the commission? You're muted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I may have missed it, but I don't recall the second on the motion.
Commissioner Ohigashi.
Okay, thank you. The motion is to go into executive session. Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Ohigashi.
Aye.
Commissioner Axon.
Yes.
Commissioner Cabral.
Yes.
Commissioner Chang.
Aye.
Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Commissioner Okuda.
Yes.
Commissioner Kamake Ohelo.
Aye.
Chair Schreier.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
For members of the public, predicting the length of our executive sessions is a hazardous business, but I do not expect this one to be particularly long. With that, we are going into executive session. This meeting room will remain open and we will return to it when done with executive session. Okay. 17, we're back in open session. For everyone, remember we are on our docket item related to the Rosehill appeal. Commissioners, discussion. What is your pleasure? Commissioner Wong.
Chair. After hearing all the testimonies and reviewing our past this docket, I would like to make a motion to go to move to appeal this case. So I guess we have to make a motion to tell the Attorney General to go forward with this case and get any other legal persons needed for this case.
So your motion is to support appeal of the reversal of our decision.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Cabral.
I'd like to go ahead and second Commissioner Wong's motion.
Okay, I'll allow the movant and the seconder to say anything towards the motion that they wish.
Yeah, Chair, I guess I said most of it at our first, when this first came up. But also just a reminder that on my motion, I would like to have the AG allowed to get outside counsel if needed for this appeal. So if we can add that to the motion. That's all.
Does Commissioner Cabral, do you agree with the friendly amendment to the motion?
Yes, I do agree.
Okay. Commissioner Cabral, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Same, I think that our explanations and our position and our understanding and interpretation of what the law allows and doesn't allow was correct at that time. And the facts have not changed. So I agree that we should go ahead and appeal that decision. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, we are in discussion. We have a motion on the table to appeal the Rosehill decision. Any discussion? Going once.
Chair, Gary
Commissioner
Okuda.
Okuda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Gary Okuda. I will be supporting the motion. I interpret the motion to also include the fact that to the extent necessary, we are confirming what the Department of the Attorney General has already done, including the filing of the notice of appeal. So to the extent that the Attorney General needed prior approval or approval by the Land Use Commission effective as of the time that they made the decision, I interpret this motion to confirm or ratify the actions taken by the Department of the Attorney General for the reasons that I stated at the other meeting. I also believe that because the issues here are those of statewide importance and statewide application, it's important that we have a decision from the highest possible court in spelling out what the rules are so that we will know exactly what we have to comply with statewide. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Okuda. Commissioner Giovanni.
Thank you, Chair. I similarly will be supporting the motion that we recommend to the Attorney General that they go forward with the appeal on this case. I personally feel that decisions to appeal or not appeal should not be made based on a prediction or estimation of success in an appeal, but rather on the merits and the need for clarification from a higher court of an issue which seems to be confusing. So we need to hear from a higher court and get the clarity we need on this commission so we can move forward on a consistent basis. And it's irrelevant to me what our chances might be of success that is being estimated by third parties. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Giovanni. Commissioner Chang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too will be supporting the motion. I think this has very broad policy issues and repercussions for, in particular, the Land Use Commission. As we have consistently, over the last several years, the dockets that have come before us define farm dwelling as having to be associated with an agricultural use of the property. Clearly, housing is important, but also sustainable ag. We ship in over 90% of our goods. There's really no reason that we should not be having more agricultural use. And as one of the testifiers mentioned, on a 1 acre parcel of land, you can do a lot of agricultural activity. So for those reasons, I think Land Use Commission has a much broader view of land use planning than perhaps the counties, but we need to provide guidance to the counties. And there is, I think, our interpretation of the law, our interpretation of farm dwelling, what's the appropriate use on ag land is correct. And I support us taking this up on appeal and ensuring that we continue to have our interpretation implemented consistently. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Chang. Commissioners, further discussion? Commissioner Axon.
Mr. Chair, I will support the motion, and I don't really have anything else to add. I just want to encourage the Hawaii County and OPSD to get on board on this appeal. It's just concerning that, the county and the Land Use Commission of the state is not on the same page on this one. This is a statewide issue, and all the agencies should be on the same page.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Axon. Commissioners, we're in discussion. Anything further before I call for the vote? I will offer my remarks. After doing this now for over 25 years, quasi-judicial proceedings, either appearing in front of commissions or now being on one, I observe that these issues always operate at least at two levels. One is what is the correct interpretation of what sometimes is called the black letter law, the written law. I have no doubt that we are accurate and we're accurate in our interpretation of the law. But the other level at which our decisions operate are in the imperfect ways in which the law tries to achieve overall justice. We are at a point in Hawaii where the biggest question for me that is before us is, do we run Hawaii for outside capital, for visitors, and for other outside interests, or do we run Hawaii for ourselves and for those of us who live here and the islands themselves? And I think that when we look at who is benefiting and who is losing in this transaction, it is unambiguous that the decision that was made by the LUC not only upholds the black letter law involved, but the greater idea that perhaps Hawaii should actually be run for those of us who live here and for the islands themselves. Mr. Ordenko, would you please poll the commission?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to instruct the Attorney General to move forward with an appeal of the Rosehill matter and retain outside counsel. Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Cabral.
Aye.
Commissioner Kamakea hello.
Aye.
Commissioner Okuda.
Yes.
Commissioner Ohigashi.
Yes.
Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Commissioner Chang.
Aye.
Commissioner Exxon.
Yes.
Chair Schroyer.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, in the interest of being expeditious with what was expected to be a short meeting, would like to proceed to our next agenda item, a discussion and action to file an application of a writ of certiorari to appeal the Hawaii Intermediate Court of Appeals Memorandum Opinion in number CAAP 17-0000173 and CAAP 17-00000, that should have been 4181, Ho'omana Foundation versus Land Use Commission and Pu'u Nua Homeowners Association Incorporated and Ross R. Scott. The Land Use Commission staff has informed me that no written public testimony was received regarding this matter. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify orally on this matter? If so, please use the raise your hand function in the Zoom software. Not seeing anybody who's calling in by phone. If you wish to orally testify on this matter. Seeing none, I will close public testimony on this matter. Mr. Ordenker, can you please provide us with some additional information on this action item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Some of the commissioners may recall that some time ago we had a case on Maui wherein the community association from an adjoining piece of agricultural land was asking the commission to issue a declaratory ruling on whether or not overnight camping accommodations were allowed under Chapter 205. Kind of expanding on that a little bit, it needs to be understood that facility was going to be used to house the homeless. The commission found that Chapter 205 did not allow for overnight camping facilities on agricultural land. The matter was appealed. The appellate court, the Intermediate Court of Appeals, overturned the commission's decision with regard to that decision based on its interpretation of some prior case law. At the same time, it's my belief that if you read the decision, the ICA was asking us to appeal further because they didn't like what was being said and they thought the matter was confused, and they made that clear. Now, Attorney General Nakatsuji, I believe, is here to discuss this matter, and I don't know if you feel you may need to go into executive session to get his opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Ordenker. Deputy Attorney General Nakatsuji is available to consult with us in executive session if so desired, and is, I believe, recommended by the nodding of our heads of our attorneys, deputies, Attorney General. Commissioners, any questions for Dan, or is there a motion? Commissioner Ohigashi.
Move that we go into executive session to consult our Attorney General regarding status of
powers,
appeal.
duties, immunities, and privileges related to this appeal.
Exactly what you said.
Thank you, Commissioner Ohigashi. Commissioner Cabral.
I will second that elegant motion.
Okay. Is there a discussion on the motion? Commissioner Ohigashi?
I don't have any
okay
question on it, except that I'm not silver tongued.
Gold or platinum, perhaps. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Ordenker, would you please poll the commission on the motion to go into executive session? If the motion prevails, we will do the same procedure. This meeting room will remain open. We will go into the other room for what I suspect, but cannot guarantee, is a briefing, and then we will come back into open session at the same meeting. Please poll the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to go into executive session. Commissioner Ohigashi.
Aye.
Commissioner Cabral.
Aye.
Commissioner Chang.
Aye.
Commissioner Axon.
Yes.
Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Commissioner Okuda.
Yes.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Kamakeo Hello.
Aye.
Chair Schreier.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, it is 10:32. We're going into executive session as described. Commissioner Cabral?
Yeah, clarification. I did get two sessions. First Scott's popped up and then immediately Riley's did. And I went back and forth with a lot of frustration last time trying to see, because both of them said that each of them were already in another Zoom or something. So which of
Okay.
those two is it I should go on to?
Mr. Derrickson.
Okay.
No, I'm clarifying. Mr. Derrickson?
Yes, I'm here.
Which of the two? Just choose one.
Yeah, I know. I wish. Use the one that Riley sent to you.
Okay.
They should actually be the exact same meeting, but
Okay.
just use one of them. Yes.
Okay. We're going into executive session. It's 10:32. We will reconvene to this room when done.
Thank you.
Thank you for starting the recording. It is 10:58 a.m. We're back in open session. Commissioners, we are on the agenda item related to the unoa Homeowners Association appeal. Commissioner Okuda.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion.
Please do.
I move that the Land Use Commission recommend, authorize, and direct the Department of Attorney General to file a petition or application to the Hawaii Supreme Court for a writ of certiorari with respect to the Intermediate Court of Appeals decision that was issued in this case, which we understand a judgment on appeal has not been entered as of yet. That is my motion.
Is there a second, Commissioner Ohigashi?
Second.
I'll allow the movant and the seconder to speak to their motion and recognize Commissioner Giovanni following that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The reason for my motion is very brief. I agree with the discussions that were made that we need clarity because the two decisions, the Waianae Neighborhood Board decision and the current ICA decision referring to prior precedent, it basically conflicts. And we will follow the law no matter what the law is, but it's not good, and I don't want to call it a disservice to the community if decisions have to be made where there is no clarity to the law. Whatever the Hawaii Supreme Court decides is the law. I know we all have sworn an oath to follow it, and we will do so. But it just creates more work, more litigation, more uncertainty where there is no clarity. So for those reasons, I ask that the motion be granted. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ohigashi, followed by Commissioner Giovanni.
I agree with Commissioner Okuda. And I would like to add that I think that the opinion issued by the ICA sort of pushes us in this direction, more than pushes us, drags us into this direction. And I'll be supporting the motion.
Thank you. Commissioner Giovanni.
Thank you, Chair. I similarly will support the motion. My regular disclaimer, I'm not an attorney. I don't understand all of the mechanics of this. So I very much appreciate hearing from my fellow commissioners that have a legal background. And I very much appreciate the explanations and detail that was provided by the Deputy AG in this matter to help me understand the situation. For those reasons, I follow the lead and concur with the movant and the second to move up to the mover, and I will support the motion.
Thank you. Commissioners, we are in discussion. We have a motion before us. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, Chair intends to vote in favor of the motion as well, joining in the reasoning from Commissioner Okuda. Any further? Mr. Ordenka, would you please poll the commission?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to recommend the LUC to recommend to the Department of the Attorney General to authorize or direct the Department of the Attorney General to file a petition to appeal the ICA decision in the Homeowners matter. Commissioner Okuda.
Yes.
Commissioner Ohigashi.
Yes.
Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Commissioner Chang.
Aye.
Commissioner Cabral.
Yes.
Commissioner Axon.
Yes.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
Commissioner Kamakeo Hello.
Aye.
Chair Schroyer.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ordenker. Members or staff, is there any further business that we have today?
Not that I'm aware of, Chair.
Okay, seeing none, we have intention to have one brief meeting on the 26th, I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair, although this was supposed to be a brief meeting.
Yes. With that, I thank everyone for your participation, including members of the public who testified, and I declare this meeting adjourned.
I would like to take a moment to thank our AGs, Julie China and Robert Nakatsuji, for helping the commission through these complicated matters.
Very much so. Thank you, everyone.
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.